BYU with a quarterfinal win yesterday over Santa Clara in the West Coast Conference Tournament in Las Vegas. Joining us now from Vegas, Greg Wrubell, the voice of the Cougars. And Greg, kind of a sloppy game yesterday. Was it a little harder than expected, and should that be any concern for Cougar fans as they go up against Gonzaga tomorrow?
Rod, not necessarily. BYU's had a habit of handling Santa Clara in particular very well and very handily in the regular season, but in conference tournament play, it's been a little different story. Regular season games, inevitably, BYU scores 80s, 90s, wins by double digits against the Broncos. Last year, though, got to Vegas, 2-point game, Tyler Hawes, game winner late, seals it for BYU. Saturday in Las Vegas, similar deal. After a regular season of dominance, they get into Las Vegas, and after an early 17-point lead goes away, it's a dogfight the rest of the way. BYU pulls away for a 72-60 win. Looks like a comfortable win, but it really wasn't that throughout. And it really is more testament to tournament play and what Dave Rose hits on often. Those first games are often grinders, and it was for BYU against Santa Clara.
Kyle Collinsworth said that people really don't understand how hard a freshman year is, and he's proud of the way Nick Emery and Zach Seljaas have played so far. So what are the expectations now as they go up against the Bulldogs tomorrow in Vegas?
Well, Coach Rose is fond of saying that by this time of the year, they're not freshmen anymore. And really, the way these two have played, they've earned maybe sort of the privilege of expectation. And that's a good thing. And I think Zach and Nick both embrace it. Of course, Nick's been embracing it as a starter all season. And there was a point in that Santa Clara game where you could say that the two freshman guards, Emery and Seljaas, were kind of outpacing the two senior guards, Collinsworth and Fisher. Now, they certainly had their moments, and especially when Nick went out of the game late with some foul trouble. Chase Fisher was huge when he had to be, and Kylan's up with a typical all-around nice line. But there was a stage, especially early in that game, where it really was the two rookies, Zach Seljaas and Nick Emery, that made some of the bigger shots for BYU.
Now, the Cougars have had two nail-biters against Gonzaga this year. The Zags have a great front court. BYU's strength is the backcourt. So what are BYU's keys to beating the Zags tomorrow?
Well, two regular season games this year. It's a 1-point BYU win. It's a Gonzaga 3-point win. Last year, two very similar outcomes, tight games, split again. So last 4 regular season meetings, 2-2, and closely contested games. It's a narrow margin when these two teams get together. Now, BYU typically scores a lower number against the Zags. The Zags are among the better defensive teams in the country. I think 12 straight teams now get to top 70 against Gonzaga. So maybe an early benchmark number for BYU might be the 70-point plateau. But beyond that, looking a little more deeply, I think it's a matter of getting someone off schedule and staying on schedule, and that is this. In the win in Spokane, Gonzaga went off schedule as Sabonis was limited in foul trouble. BYU wins the game in large part due to the fact that Sabonis wasn't playing a regular number. Wiltshire went off. They still didn't win because Sabonis was limited to, I think, 21 minutes in foul trouble. In the game in Provo, BYU goes off schedule. Kyle Collinsworth, early foul trouble. Sits, the game changes, Gonzaga goes on to win. So I think it really is going to come down to key players either going off schedule or staying on schedule as to who might win this one in Vegas on Monday night.
Now, seniors Kyle Collinsworth and Chase Fisher, they struggled a little bit against Santa Clara yesterday. So what do those two have to do tomorrow against Gonzaga to give BYU a chance?
Just hang in there and be the senior leaders they're expected to be. Again, I thought when it came right down to it, the guys you needed to make plays made those plays. Kyle and Chase both had big conversions late in the game, and Collinsworth from the free throw line converted when he had to after some early struggles. So I think really, I think Saturday testified to their value. The young kids played very well, but it's going to be those two guys having to really carry things for BYU. And they're part of that backcourt trio, which includes Nick Emery. And as we've seen time and again this season, Rod, when those three play well together, BYU does not lose. When they struggle, and often struggle together has been the case, it's tough for the Cougs to win.